Second idea that's holding you back, that where you are now is where you are forever. The way you are now is the way you are forever. You are way more malleable and shapeable than you realize. And once you start proving that to yourself, it'll make more sense and you'll be better and better and better and more capable at it.
It's a constant progression toward more and more and more truth. And it's important to just realize that. Anyone who thinks that their truth is the truth is just very ignorant. And it's important to realize that.
Next Level Nation, welcome back to another very special, as always, NLU Weekly Live Podcast Week number 136, 3 ideas that are holding you back. So I was Jeffin, and I was supposed to choose a title last week. I didn't choose the title till today. I'm really Jeffin. But I was thinking to myself, some of our favorite episodes are the ones where we either dispel myths that are common or we just talk about things that, I don't know, a lot of us are thinking about or we're feeling or we have these belief systems that we can help shift. So we decided that Alan and I are each going to bring 3 points and we're going to hit you quick fire with 6 ideas. So you think you're coming, take it easy. You think you're coming for 3 ideas. You get 6 ideas.
I was ready. I was coming in
hot.
I
know.
I love this episode.
Let's
this
do
is
it.
so good. When I saw this, I was immediately pumped. 3 ideas that are holding you back.
Let's do it.
Okay, so every result underneath it has a process. Every process underneath it has a belief system. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Idea number 1 for me. Okay, this is the idea, 3 ideas that are holding you back. We each have 3. This idea that you should, quote unquote, be able to achieve great things easily. Spoiler alert. Emilia and I watched a movie last night that I had wanted to see for a very long time because it won a lot of awards and I knew it was on the inspiring list of movies. The Help. Kev, have you seen it?
The Help. I have not seen it. I've heard about it though.
Okay. Very, very powerful movie. Very, very inspiring during the civil rights movement. Period piece. Excellent. So I'm not going to spoil the movie. But in the movie, and any really good, inspiring movie, has a lot of trials and tribulations, has a lot of challenges, has a lot of fear, uncertainty, sometimes death threats. In this case, the civil rights movement, some of the danger. This is down in the 60s, down in Mississippi. Mm. And so there was so much going on there. There was so much challenge. And so if you think about a movie without any challenge, it's going to be a really boring movie. And if you think about a movie without any challenge, the characters aren't going to transform. They're not going to grow. They're not going to have courage. They're not going to need courage. And so this idea that you should be able to achieve great things easily, there's something status building about doing something and having it be easy. And I tell the story about the marathon I did and how the half marathon was actually pretty easy. And while that might sound cool in a moment, the marathon itself was actually ridiculously difficult, and that's what I'm more proud of. I'm more proud of the full marathon that I walked at the end, limped at the end, than the half marathon that was easy. That's my personal belief. And so this idea that you can run a marathon easily or achieve your dreams easily or build a business easily, to me is not inspiring. Although it might look cool to be able to dunk with ease or to whatever it is, insert goal or result here. And so that's my first idea that's holding you back. If you have any part of you that thinks life or achievement or doing something at a professional level is supposed to be easy or even can be easy, most likely that is holding you back because it's just not true. And the moment you hit adversity, you're gonna be like, oh, well, maybe this isn't for me. When in reality, you're supposed to hit adversity and that's how you grow.
Alan, there's a couple of YouTube channels that I watch. One is called Cinema Sins, where it's literally the preface of this, or the premise, not the preface. The premise of this channel is somebody goes through and picks a movie apart and says everything wrong with boom. So I watched everything wrong with The Dark Knight yesterday, or I don't know when it was. There's another channel that I love. It's called Dead Meat. And this guy goes through horror movies and literally has a kill count where he says how many people died in this movie, how did they do it, what was this horror movie in a nutshell. Number one point or the number one idea that's holding many people back, you need to think more realistically. There is a person on YouTube who reviews horror movies and has like these really cool sets and he dresses up as the characters and that's his living. And he makes a fair amount of money doing that. There's another person who literally reviews movies. And he says everything wrong with this movie. And he goes through and he makes a ton of jokes and it's got this counter. And every time he says that's something wrong with it, it goes bing. Least realistic jobs ever of all time. Even you and I. We get to talk into microphones for a living. It's not realistic. For most of us, you need to get rid of that. I think most of us let our imaginations go, when in reality, it would serve us to tap back into them. The fact that we get to do this, if this isn't proof that you shouldn't be thinking super realistically, I don't know what it is. So that is point number one. The idea that's holding you back is that you need to think more realistically, when in reality, you probably need to tap into your imagination more.
Well, if you thought realistically, this wouldn't have happened.
That's a fact.
And same. Now, you can't overdo that because there is such a thing as delusion. But, again, I think most people are on the other end of overly pessimistic or overly realistic. Another idea number 2, this idea that other people's feedback is the objective truth. This idea that other people's truth is the truth. So I talk about this all the time, so probably the worst way to lead into something, but essentially you have your primary, secondary, and tertiary truth. Emilia and I talk about this all the time. She's actually the one who mainly came up with it. At least the primary, secondary, and tertiary truth. The part I came up with was the difference between your words and your actions is the size of your ego. It's based on this target. Center of the target, you've heard me say it before, is who you really are. Second layer is who you want to believe you are. Third layer is who you want other people to believe you are. When I do my research on clients, it's so fascinating for me personally because I get to understand behind the scenes at the deepest level, and then I study their social media and I see the contrast and I go, okay, we're going to have to work on that. And so this idea that when, let's say you came to Next Level Live and I were to ask you, how do you think my speech went? I have to understand that your feedback is not the objective truth. It's relative to what you know about speaking, what you know about what should have been said, what you know about my objective, what you know about the audience and how well it landed for them. And so I'll give you a perfect example. I have 3 people in the room who think my speech was world-class, unbelievable. I have a lot of people in the room who thought it was absolutely terrible. Neither one of those is true. The truth, objectively, is depending on what is my goal. If my goal was to make it land as powerfully with as many people in that room as possible, my speech was not the strongest. If my goal was to really help someone who's already world-class become even more world-class for those 3 individuals I'm talking about, then yes, mine was the most successful or impactful speech in the room. First of all, when someone gives you feedback about anything, your posts on social media or your podcast or your speech or your book that you're writing or anything, insert career here, whatever it is, that's based on their belief system. That's based on what they believe is best for you. And what if what they believe is best for you is actually very, very inaccurate and very, very flawed? So don't let someone else's tertiary truth affect your primary truth. It's very, very important to understand that. So that's one of the other ideas. I know this is a lightning round kind of, so I'll go quicker.
You're crushing. We're
Thanks,
on.
Man.
You have 2 more minutes if you'd like to add to that.
My goodness. No. I think I need to save my 2 minutes for the end.
Okay. I remember, Alan, in the very beginning of this journey, I lived in New Hampshire, not where I live now, but actually pretty close to where I live now. And you and I were talking and you said, hey, I think this would be a great book for you to start. And I said, all right, what's this book? And he said, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It's a great beginning to an understanding of finance, right? It's an easy read. It'll help you understand a lot. You should do that. And I remember thinking to myself, I don't understand the point of learning. I don't understand the point of reading books. Why do I need to know things? I really had this conversation with myself. And I've told this story before. Downloaded the book on Audible. I think I actually was using iBooks at the time. I threw in MLB The Show. And I listened to Rich Dad, Poor Dad whilst playing video games, multitasking at its finest. And I just remember having that thought, Alan, why does it matter? Why do I need to know all this? I don't understand what this book is going to do for me. This is the second idea that's holding you back. The way you are now is the way you are forever. That's very much how I thought. I assumed that it'll be cool to know what's in this book, but how am I going to take that and put that into practice in my life? I don't understand why that matters. And the biggest difference between today and back then is back then I had way more of a fixed mindset. That was a very fixed mindset belief where who I am today is who I am forever. I didn't understand how malleable we are as human beings. I didn't understand that one piece of knowledge quite literally can change your life, and it can change many people around you as well if you share that with them. I didn't understand the importance of investing in yourself. And this is the weird thing, this is the paradox. It's easy to grow to a certain level, and then you can start to have that same thought or that same belief of where I am now as a business owner is where I'm going to be forever. Where I am in my fitness journey is where I'm going to be forever. Where I am regarding my confidence is where I'm going to be forever. When in reality, that's just a part of the journey. That's just a unique stop that you're looking at, but you got to tap back in and say, oh yeah, no, look at how far I've come. I've come this far. I have those moments, Alan, where, and way less than ever, but where we are in the podcast, sometimes I lose sight of how far we've come even in the past year. And then I can't even imagine what a year from today is going to look like. I have no clue. I assume it's going to be cool and good and positive, but I don't know. So I even lose sight of that at times, but you really have to reflect. So the second idea that's holding you back, that where you are now is where you are forever. The way you are now is the way you are forever. You are way more malleable and shapeable than you realize. And once you start proving that to yourself, it'll make more sense and you'll be better and better and better and more capable at it.
Hi, my name's John Laurito, and I just wanted to give a big shout out to Kevin Palmieri. I had reached out to him. He had been referred to me when I had shared with a friend of mine some interest in doing a podcast, and he said, you've got to use Kevin. He's fantastic. He's the best around. He'll get you started and off the ground and soaring high. Kevin was phenomenal in terms of leading me through the whole process, and not just easy to work with, but really, really knows his stuff. So whether you're looking for somebody to help you and get you started, or somebody, as I've done, where I'm putting it entirely in his hands because I've got total trust and confidence in him, any of those ends of the spectrum, you're gonna have a lot of success and a lot of fun working with Kevin. Trust me. Thanks.
So Kev, one of my favorite parts about you is you just admit your own mistakes and or regrets and or jeffings, for lack of better phrasing, like very openly. Like it's embarrassing for you to say, I didn't understand the value of learning. I mean, that's, you know, fairly embarrassing. And it should be, and that's okay. But I want to understand, like, what would you tell someone who still thinks that? Because that wasn't necessarily conscious, or was that an actual conversation of like, why do books matter?
That was a conversation. I just didn't, it was a lack of awareness on my part.
So
I wasn't
what would
somebody
you say
who
to that
valued
version?
learning. I didn't value learning.
Okay, talk to that person. Why should that person value learning? Because that's an idea holding people back for sure. So I'm going to pivot my third one. Everything you want is on the other side of learning and or skill development. Those two, right?
Yeah.
So here you are, right? You've achieved many of your dreams, sometimes beyond your dreams. And without learning, there's no way that could have happened, right? So that's obvious now, but back then you didn't realize that was the problem.
No.
Why not?
I think if this version of Kev went back to that version of Kev playing MLB, stepped in front of the TV, hit pause. Hey, pause that, kid. I got something for you. I might have said, yo, get out of here. Well, like, first of all, how'd you even get in here? I think I would probably say what you know has gotten you as far as it can. Like the reason you have the results you have in your life today are most likely because you've practiced everything that you actually know. What if you knew more that you could practice more? In a couple of years, your life could look drastically different. Again, those questions are hard for me because I don't know if there's anything you could have said. I think I just went with what you said because I was like, kid's got a lot of money in the bank. He just gets to go to Chipotle whenever he wants. Doesn't seem like he's doing a whole hell of a lot. You know, this self-improvement thing's for me.
Well, I was reading like
I didn't know
hundreds
that.
of books. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's funny, man.
I saw you at the lake and I saw you at Chipotle. I didn't know what you're doing behind the scenes.
That's true.
Son?
That's true. That's fair. That's fair. Okay. Idea number 3. I feel like that we're on a game show or something. Like, do we get a prize at the end for idea number 3? What's behind door number 3?
We have, at the end, you get 15 years more of hard work, minimum.
You had said earlier, you said, I don't know what next year will be like. but I'm excited. It'll be we'll be far more successful, but everything will be far more difficult.
Yeah,
but
fun.
we'll all be far more capable. So that's my prediction.
I like
The sign of true intelligence, just predict the future. No. All right, so idea number 3 that's holding you back. This idea that your reality is the reality. And without getting too esoteric or science fiction-y here, your reality is not the reality. Seriously. And the only way to really get closer to the objective truth is to realize that your truth is not the objective truth, and then to go seek objective truth knowing you'll never actually get there. And I know that sounds a little weird, but my reality is not the reality. I have a distorted reality that I'm trying to learn how to undistort. And every one of these podcast episodes, that's really what we're doing. It's like, oh, okay, so you thought great things could come easily. That's false. So let's rewire that misbelief with, you know what? Really difficult things are good. And if you want to achieve great things in life, it's going to be difficult. Like that's one example of a less distorted truth. And so anyone who thinks that have you ever met someone who like thinks that they're right about everything? And it's like you actually think your reality is like the way it works. And it's like fascinating because it's like you couldn't possibly think that. But they do. They really do. And I cannot handle people like that because it's just like this the whole time, right? Instead of a discussion, like Kevin and I right there, like, okay, well, so learning is really important to achieve your dreams. And anyone who doesn't understand that obviously is not as close to the reality as I am right now. That's fine. Okay, let's talk to Kevin about that. And then let's figure out what his reality is. And let's bridge realities so that we can both get closer to the objective truth, right? I mean, back when the Earth was flat and Pluto wasn't a planet and we put leeches on our skin to like heal diseases, like no one knows the reality. It's a constant progression toward more and more and more truth. And it's important to just realize that. Anyone who thinks that their truth is the truth is just very ignorant. And it's important to realize that.
Anytime I can throw a Lil Wayne lyric into a podcast episode about self-improvement, I would say I'm doing just fine. Lil Wayne once stated, "Slow paper is better than no paper. Fast money don't last too long. You got to pace it." My last point is speed is more important than direction. So if you're going 1 mile an hour...
Wait, direction is more important than speed.
Yeah, sorry. That's the idea that's holding you back. That speed is more important than direction. Jeff,
Gotcha.
everything is wrong.
My apologies.
No, you're good. 1 mile an hour in the right direction is better than 5 miles an hour in the wrong direction. And I think a lot of us, we live in this supercar reality where everybody's crushing it every day. And I would rather you look at the fact that you're going in the right direction. You're making progress. Is it as fast as you want? Maybe not. Full disclosure, full transparency, Alan and I are not succeeding at as fast as we want either. Not even close. How far off are we, would you say?
Oh my God, it's brutal.
Right.
It's brutal.
A percentage.
Compared to where we could be?
Where you thought we'd be.
80% off?
That's a lot of off.
Yeah.
But so
we're at the very beginning. We're at the very, very beginning of our journey. I calculate like less than 1% of our growth.
it's very hopeful. Makes me feel very hopeful for the future.
Yeah, thank goodness, right?
But that's the thing for a lot of us. I'm not going fast enough. I'm not going fast enough. That might be true. But the fact that you're going in the right direction is the place to start. And you can double and triple down on what's actually bringing you in the right direction. And I think a lot of us, we want to be successful yesterday, Alan and myself included. But we're more successful today than we were yesterday, even though it doesn't really seem like it that much. Look at that.
Strong work.
1 minute. What do you have to say?
One more comment. The fact that you just said that, I feel very good about our direction. The speed has been way slower than I thought, but the direction has been very good. Very good.
Well
but it's
done.
because we're constantly pivoting, right? We're constantly like reassessing, recalibrating. What's back when you used to be a foreman, you used to have tools all the time, right? Didn't you have to like calibrate the tools?
No, the tools we were working with were pretty simple. Like, you drill. Yeah, nothing crazy.
You didn't have to calibrate? Okay.
No, nope.
What's a good example? Okay, imagine a level. We were hanging Emilia's TV a couple weeks ago, and we have this level. What if the level was off? Think about your consciousness right now if you're out there watching or listening. Your belief system. What if the level is off and we put the TV like this and the level says it's level? That's a good analogy for what we're trying to do with this podcast, is help you like level your belief system and recalibrate your level to actually be accurate.
Home improvement. Next level university home improvement.
Mm-hmm.
Alan, you want to talk about the Next Level Hope Foundation? Go on.
I do. All right. December 18th, we're having a Next Level Hope Foundation holiday event. So the Next Level Hope Foundation is there to help single parents with children, and Kevin and I both had single parents. We understand the challenges of it. We were kids with single parents, and so we want to create a foundation that really helps them around the holidays and Father's Day for obvious reasons, because we both grew up without fathers. So December 18th, we rented out the YMCA. There's 2 ways you can contribute. One, if you are a single parent with children, RSVP in the greater Worcester area, come join us. We'd love to have you, and if you know anyone else who's a single parent as well, please bring them. If you are not geographically within the greater Worcester area and you're not going to be around, you can donate. We're only $150 away from our goal. And honestly, when this airs, I know we're live right now, but when this does air, it might be, we might be over goal, but we're matching up to $500. So we're only $150 away from goal. 2 people donated this weekend. So every little bit helps. I don't care if it's $5. We really appreciate it.
And in the spirit of, we try to ask for very little, but since we are asking, we also have a course on our website that is completely free for you. You can download it. You can take the worksheets. You can share it with your friends. It's definitely worth its value, or it's definitely worth its price, because it's priced at $0. So it's way more valuable than $0.
That's for sure.
What do you think about that?
And it starts with clarity, which was one of the questions.
The 5 C's. Mm-hmm. The 5 C's.